Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you all for your commentaries. And I think what I really want to do is give our speakers an opportunity to give their talks on the book publishing projects they're involved with. And while we still have Kevin available, I'm going to ask him to lead off. One of the things that the Vere Society produced a decade ago is an edition of Great Oxford, edited by Richard Mallam. And the good news is I understand this is going to be reissued by the Vere Society.
Oh, good.
And Kevin will have more to say about this, I think, in the next few minutes here. So Kevin, take it away.
Yeah, here we are. Great Oxford. Sorry, I'm not sure who I'm showing it to. Yeah, they came out as a collection of essays. I thought they're very interesting, and I'll keep going back to them. And the Vere Society is now in a position to republish this. We decided, we had a meeting the other day, and with Alexander, we were thinking that we probably need to just put in a few riders, either to alert people to further research since these papers were originally published, or things which have been established as erroneous. So I think we're going to make sure that when it comes out, I think the papers will be the same, but they will have these additional notes in them. Secondly, Eddie Jolly's been putting together Great Oxford 2, and this is a collection of papers which deal with basically the case for Oxford. So it's the case against the Stratford man and the case for Oxford. And these are all essays that have appeared in the Vere Society newsletter over the last few years or so. I think that's almost ready now, and I understand that she's almost finished the indexing, and they've been looking at the proofs. And then there's going to be a third one, which I've been editing, and that's ready to go to be set. And so that will be following on soon afterwards. And this deals more generally with Oxford's life. And for me, editing it has been absolutely fantastic, because I started reading these originally and I sort of put them to one side, but now looking at them again in detail, I've found how much exciting stuff really has been done, and then making this available. And I think all three will be available as a presentation set, certainly within the next few months. The Great Oxford 1, 2, and 3.
Excellent, Kevin. Thank you so much. I highly recommend that people consider joining the Vere Society next weekend. The Vere Society will have their membership meeting. You still have time to sign up for that. And it will feature a film by Oxfordian Robin Phillips, apparently. So look forward to being part of that. So thank you again, Kevin, and good luck and fare forward with all your publication projects. Next, I want to ask Roger Stritmatter, who's obviously very involved in publications. I'm just going to hold up two of the first editions of the Brief Chronicles series, the Shakespeare Authorship Source Book, which is a wonderful collection of essays and commentaries on the whole authorship question, and then the Poems of Edward de Vere, 17th Earl of Oxford, the Shakespeare Question, which is volume 1 of a series he's publishing and preparing for publication under the Shakespeare Oxford Fellowship, under the imprimatur of Brief Chronicles. So Roger, tell us more about your plans.
Well, there's going to be 5 volumes in the poems set. Originally, there was going to be 1, and then there was going to be 2. And then the second one got so big, and I looked at it and said it needs more focused treatment. So there's going to be a series of 5. And I should say that both that first volume and the reference book, the source book, are the copies that you have of those are both about to be replaced in the next few weeks with the more current editions that do have some corrections and whatnot, and will hopefully have a little bit sharper design. And we needed to standardize the design for the rest of the series, which was not in place at the time those were issued. So the plan is to do, aside from the poems, is to do 1 volume a year focused on a particular topic. The next one up would be Shakespeare and the Law. And then I hope to do a volume on Shakespeare and cryptography, and one on Shakespeare and Ben Jonson. And those are the ones that probably are going to come soonest, and we have plans stretching out further than that, but those are pretty far in the future at this point. That's the basic plan. The idea is to provide materials that answer or address really focused questions. The Stratfordians, like to have silver bullet methodologies. They like to slay you with one bullet, and I think this series would be designed to kind of provide tools for answering each one of those allegedly, unsurmountable challenges.
One other comment, Roger. I know you and Alexander Waugh have been working on the Shakespeare Allusions books for a number of years now, and we're all excited about the possibilities that will represent in terms of research.
Right.
What do you see as the possibility of getting that into print in the coming year?
Well, I hope so. Alexander himself is more directly connected with the production at this point. The first volume has been typeset and proofread, and the second volume that is still happening on. And at that point in time, we will issue some copies, and we will hopefully be in negotiation with the publisher at that point to actually publish it. That's the plan.
Outstanding, friends. Well, you're hearing things that are coming hot off the press, really, and among the foremost Shakespeare authorship scholars in the world today. So I thank you, Roger, for your contributions and for your ongoing work. I can't imagine how you can teach full time and still produce all this amazing material, but we're in awe and honored to have you part of our program here for so many years and been so productive. Finally, I want to invite Jim Warren back onto the panel here to comment a little bit more about his forthcoming work. You've heard a bit about it earlier today. And Jim, why don't you just take it away and help fill us in on what we can expect forthcoming.
Yeah, thanks, Earl. Well, I have a dozen or so projects underway. I just want to tell you about a few of them. One is the book that I showed you earlier, looking at how John Thomas Looney's Oxfordian theory has affected understanding of Shakespeare over the last 100 years. It's hopefully going to come out by the end of May. It's in proof, and it's being edited and proofread, and so it's very close to coming out. This index to Oxfordian publications, the fourth edition was in 2017, almost 4 years ago. I have thousands of new entries that I've discovered in my work on the first 25 years of the Oxfordian movement, which will go into here. It's already quite thick, but it's going to be even thicker in the next issue. I hope to get the new edition out in August or so. Another project is a collection of 450 letters that Oxfordians sent to each other in the first 25 years of the Oxfordian movement. I have the full text of the letters. Wow. Here's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that, but anyways, they're going to be annotated and introduced to explain the significance of the content of the letters. But it's very exciting for me, and maybe for everybody, to see what the most important Oxfordian scholars from 1920 to 1945 or so said to each other as they commented on their own work, their own findings, on the developments within the Oxfordian movement, how Stratfordians were responding to their work. It's all here in their own words that they shared with each other. It's a fascinating look. So that's another project. I'm going to do a modern English edition of Cardanus Comfort, known as Hamlet's book. It's unbelievable that there is no modern English edition of this book. It's called Hamlet's book because so many of the themes in it are reflected in Hamlet. The only edition out there is this Da Capo Press edition, which is actually a facsimile of the 1573 or 76 edition. I want to show you what it looks like. It is in the old style. It's almost illegible. It's it's just unreadable. So there's no easy way to read this book until my modern English edition comes out. It's a hell of a lot of work to go through that and put it into modern English, but I'm going to do that. And I've been working on it off and on for a couple of years or 3 years. Other projects underway. I have created a Microsoft Word version of Dorothy Ogburn's final book. It's called Elizabeth and Shakespeare, England's Power and Glory. It's like 600, 700 pages long, never been published. It exists only in 2 copies in a manuscript, typed manuscript. One is at in the Ogburn archives at Emory University, which I haven't been able to see because, well, the library is closed because of the virus. But from Michael Delahoyd, I got a copy of the other, even poorer quality copy, typewritten copy, and have gone through it and created a Word document, which I'm now editing, and then I'll annotate, and if I can get the rights, I will publish that. In the background is the biography of John Thomas Looney, which I'll be drawing in large part on the papers I got from Looney's grandson, well, almost 2 years ago. But I spent a lot of time inventorying those papers and scanning them all in so that copies exist. And with John Rubin, we're talking to a major university about housing those papers so that they'll be protected and available for scholars to look at. But again, the COVID situation has delayed that a little bit. But the other big
secret to your productivity? What is the secret to your productivity, Jim?
Yeah, and what's worse is that I've lost access to the academic databases because I'm in Thailand, and Thailand doesn't really have secure protection for computer things, and so the databases based in the U.S. have cut off access from Thailand.
Oh wow!
And so has PayPal. So I've lost access to a lot of things because of security concerns in Thailand. Anyways, the other big project that I'm just about to start, I've been working on it a little bit, but I'm going to once this book is out the door, then I'm going to go into searching for and finding the archives or papers of the first generations of Oxfordians. Percy Allen, Colonel Ward, Captain Ward, Ava Turner Clark, Admiral Holland, Colonel Douglas, Professor Louis Benezet. Their papers must surely total, in some cases, tens of thousands of pages of their own writings and drafts and their correspondence. And yet nobody has found them, or maybe no one has even looked for these things, but I'm going to find them if they're still in existence. And if they're not in existence, I'm going to find out what happened to them, when and where they were destroyed. Then there's also the archives of people that early Oxfordians, including Looney, communicated or corresponded with. I know he corresponded with Sir Sidney Lee. I don't know where Sir Sidney Lee's papers are. I haven't been able to find them, but they must exist somewhere. And if they do, Looney's letters to Lee are probably there. I know that Looney wrote at least 6 and maybe many more letters to Sir George Greenwood. I don't know where Greenwood's papers are. And there are many other scholars that I have their letters to Looney. They were in the papers I got from Looney's grandson. I need to find Looney's letters to them. And then on non-Oxfordian stuff, Looney was in frequent communication with one of his students during World War I. One of his students, I have more than 20 letters, in some cases just postcards, and they're all marked, passed by censor, that his students sent to him during the war from the front lines in World War I. So I have those letters to Looney. So Looney, and they indicate that Looney wrote to him as often as he wrote to Looney. So I've investigated a bit and found out that soldier survived the war. He didn't die in the war. He survived until 1962. So it could be that 20 of Looney's letters to him are with his descendants. So I'm going to track down the family members and find out if those 20 letters, are still in existence to give me further insights into Looney the man, apart from his Oxfordian activities. And also, Looney's, it's widely known that his positivist activities were so important to him that they influenced, his thinking and his dedication to the pursuit of truth. His positivist letters were so important to him, his communications with the leaders, the national leaders of the positivist movement, that when he sent more than 60 letters to them, he kept carbon copies in a notebook. So I have that notebook with those carbon copies of those letters. I'm halfway through transcribing them all, and they give fascinating insights into his discussions with these national leaders in that movement. And this was in the decade just before he turned to the Oxfordian investigations. So, we'll have real insights into him as a man and his philosophical interests apart from his Oxfordian work, and all that will come out in the biography at some point in the next decade.
Oh my goodness, Jim, you are a phenomenon. We have found our hero, and congratulations, sir, on all this stuff that you're.
Well, Earl, as you know, once you're retired and you have a pension, you don't have to work for a living. Then your time is your own, and you can put it into whatever you think is of interest and value. And for me, that's the Oxfordian movement and the Oxfordian claim and investigating that. So I'm doing it as a labor of love because it's something I love to do, and I think it has some value for the world.
Well, yours is a love supreme, Jim. Yours is truly a love supreme. So. Now, thank you, Roger and Jim and Kevin, for your contributions. You've all received your homework assignments now, and we'll be checking back with you in the fall on whether you've completed them or not. So thank you so much for participating.